Art is often thought-provoking. It evokes emotions from its viewers, good or bad. And Attack on Titan is no stranger to this. It's no stranger to controversy. And Eren Yeager is the perfect example of that. For as long as me being an Attack on Titan fan, I've seen the very same criticisms leveled at Eren's character from season 1 through 3. Eren has always been criticized, chastised. A very vocal chunk of the fan base dislike his shortcomings. For example, Eren has often been called a crybaby, a useless, a terrible character. And to be fair, Eren has been a character that has struggled. He's often had outbursts and he's often failed quite a lot. He even laments this in the second half of the 3rd season.
Look at you! You haven't grown up one goddamn bit! You're still as useless as you've ever been! Nothing's changed!
This is why it was a shock to me that when the final season rolled around, or rather when the final arc started in the manga, suddenly it felt like everyone unanimously loved Eren Yeager. Suddenly he was this amazing character that was so well written. But to me, he's always been this amazing character. Today I want to talk about the infamous chapter 139. Page 14. But before I get into that, if you like this kind of content, subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Let's try to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I often make these types of analysis videos on anime, manga, and video games, so if that's what you're into, stick around and let's watch this channel grow. And if you want more of me, go follow my Twitter. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the topic at hand. So in chapter 139, depending on who you ask, you'll hear two different things. The first being this chapter ruined Eren's character. He was character assassinated, for a lack of a better term. He's a simp, a crybaby, a loser. And on the other hand, you'll hear this chapter in general is just peak. It's the best ending ever. But I don't necessarily fall into either of these camps. While I do love this panel and the ending, I have a problem with it. The dialogue is a bit clunky. But that's a minor issue to me if I'm being honest, and I'll go into why later. When I first read this chapter, it was a bit jarring, I won't lie. I had a knee-jerk reaction, but before I took to Twitter and start writing my very premature knee-jerk reaction, I sat to myself and I really began to ponder. I read the chapter 3 times at that time, 3 separate translations. Back to the point, on my 3rd read, it started to click for me. I saw what Isayama was going for here and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I'm not surprised at the reaction that this panel got. It makes sense. To me, this panel takes Eren back to how he was, a very emotional person who was prone to these type of outbursts in these very stressful situations. Given how some of the fan base had already reacted to Eren seasons prior, I'm really not surprised. And you can have your opinion, whether or not you like this version of Eren, or whether or not you like this outburst specifically, because I think this is just how Eren is. It's not a different version of Eren. That's not what I'm here to discuss. You're free to have that opinion. I don't care. I do take issue with saying that he was character assassinated, but at the end of the day, art is subjective and we can just fight about it on Twitter. So Eren was a character that was very heavily scrutinized for crying, for failing. The only time I've seen that not happen was in chapter 131, when Eren breaks down in front of that one Marley boy. He was unburdening himself. The entire chapter is Eren's self-reflection on all of his actions up until this point, and it's beautiful. One of my favorite chapters in the series, right up there with chapter 127. If you want my full thoughts on chapter 127, I've already made a video about that, a Jean Kirstein analysis, so I implore you to go check that out, along with my other Attack on Titan videos if you so fancy. I believe chapter 131 was foreshadowing what was to come. We finally got a look at things through Eren's perspective, the turmoil he's feeling, all his emotions, his vulnerability. Isayama was slowly shattering this facade of Eren being this emotionless Chad of a character. Eren thinks back to his mother as he reflects on what he's about to do. If nothing else, isn't there just too big a difference between the number of people who die on the island and outside? Plus, it's a fact that if all the Eldians got wiped out, the Titan problem would disappear with them. But I just can't accept that. and end like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When I learned that humanity had survived beyond the walls, I was so disappointed. This chapter takes Eren back to his roots. This is why I love 131 and 139 so much. And I don't understand how so many people can take issue with this chapter, specifically what Eren is doing right here, and ignore the context. Yes, what Eren said and the way he said it was extremely jarring and extremely off-putting. But context is key. Allow me to explain. Right after this infamous panel, we see Eren retract his statements. He wants Mikasa to be happy, and he feels all he can do now is die. After all, he can't be forgiven for what he's done. When I made the announcement for this video, one of my viewers popped a very interesting take. Do I think that this humanizes Eren? No. To humanize something is to attribute human qualities to it. That would mean that Eren was not human at all. And I don't believe this, and I don't mean in the technical sense as flesh and blood. But I think Eren was always human, and his reaction here really hits home. If you've ever liked a girl, if you're young, you'd have these thoughts. Maybe you don't say it out loud because it doesn't sound good, but the point still remains. It's a very knee-jerk human reaction given these circumstances. Isayama already foreshadowed Eren's interest in Mikasa a few times already in the series. It's very subtle, and Attack on Titan isn't known for its romance, so I don't blame people if it went over their heads or they just didn't interpret it as such. Eren is on the verge of dying. It makes no sense for him to go to the grave with these ugly thoughts. He's speaking his mind one last time. He's being vulnerable one last time, and with his best friend, Armin. It's beautiful, it's messy, it's raw emotion. And to me, it's what Attack on Titan has always been about. Attack on Titan's strongest aspect is how human the series is as a whole. The best moments, to me at least, aren't the action, it isn't the spectacle, it isn't the twists and the turns. Although most of these, if not all, are amazing. What stands out to me is how the characters embody both the good and bad of humanity. Despite the series' main driving force in its initial seasons being Titan killing, the story was always human. It was about real people in an unreal world that slowly began to mirror our world more and more as the plot continued to progress. I love that Eren is vulnerable one last time. I love that he finally admits how he really felt about Mikasa instead of communicating it through not only visual storytelling but vague expository dialogue. And least we don't forget, Eren is just 19. Since birth, he was thrust into an unforgiving and harsh world. He watched his mother die. He felt betrayed when he learned the truth about Reiner and Bertolt. He experienced love and heartbreak through his incapableness of coming out and just telling Mikasa how he felt. He let his anger and his rage consume a large portion of his life. He's cried, he's got angry, he's smiled, he's broken down. Had his entire world shattered when he learned the truth, when he saw the future. He's such an interesting character. He's flawed, deeply brash, and can be very one-track minded. That of a child. It makes sense that a lot of the final arc has Eren's childlike self take front stage. Chapter 139 to me just continues to reiterate that, and that's why I love the scene and I love Eren Yeager so much. And I can't wait to see it animated. This is Rimtoki. This has been Beyond Animation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
If I lose it all, slip and fall, will you laugh at me? If I lose it all,